No, thank you. Thank you very much, MC and Project Grant Director. President, I feel like I should make a confession. I should make a confession that I am a backsliding engineer myself. So maybe I'm one of those that contributes to your stats. That we're not seeing too many people becoming professional engineers in there. But I must also say that it gives me immense pride, GCE, to see what engineers have done at ESCO. I really think as a non-practicing engineer, you really feel very proud to see what those that stayed the course in their profession have managed to achieve in Ntate Nxumalo. It's really been a pleasure. Let me start by acknowledging all those that are present here, specifically Mr. Mlaba, the president of the NSBE, Ms. Dr. Samula, the CEO of EXA, Ntate Marokani, the Group Chief Executive of ESCOM, Mr. Monage, the President of the Black Business Council. The Development Bank of Southern Africa is a state-owned entity. We are a bank that is 100% owned by the Republic of South Africa. Our shareholder ministry is the National Treasury. Our mandate is to invest in infrastructure. So what we do is we play in the full scope of the infrastructure value chain, starting from planning right up to maintenance and operations. So that makes us unique in the finance world in that we don't just provide money for infrastructure development. We also assist with planning of infrastructure, preparation of infrastructure projects, financing, build, ops and maintenance of infrastructure. So that's the breadth within which the Development Bank of South Africa has played. We primarily operate within South Africa. Our mandate says that says a minimum of 60% of our investments should be in South Africa. The other 40% can be outside South Africa in the sub-Saharan continent. The thing stands now, 70% of our investments are in South Africa and 30% sits outside South Africa, split between the SADC region and the rest of the continent. We have been a major player within the energy space, particularly. Outside of the municipalities, energy is the second largest portfolio within the bank's loan book. We have a very long-standing relationship with ESCOM. I must say, CG, that as the Chief Risk Officer of the DBSA, the turnaround that we see at ESCOM makes me sleep at night, because ESCOM is the second biggest loan that I have in my loan book. So I'm able to sleep. I'm able to sleep at night. Yeah. So we really have played a significant role in terms of the energy space within the country, in terms of the relationship we have with ESCOM, but also the DBSA played a very pivotal role in the establishment of the IPPO, as well as the funding in the space of the renewable energies space. As indicated, energy is our second biggest area of funding outside of municipalities. If we start including the loans that we give to municipalities to do things like distribution, invest in their distribution network, then you start seeing that energy is quite big in terms of where we are in the DBSA loan book. Outside of energy, we also play a very big role in terms of right now we're doing a lot of work with Transnet around seeing how we can contribute to the turnaround of the logistics sector. We are very interested in the water space in terms of what is happening there. As I said, we don't only fund. Together with the Department of Water and Sanitation, we have set up an office at ESCOM at the DBSA that looks at how we can deal with the challenges that we have within the water space in the country. It's a newly set up office. We are in the process of capacitating that office and making sure that we respond to what is happening in the country. Infrastructure delivery at municipal level is also a key area of focus for us. One of our key strategic initiatives is to look at what we call partner district initiative, where we look to work with, we call them the Willing Coalition, where we want to work with willing municipalities, see how we can come together and try to solve for the challenges that we have in the infrastructure space within municipalities. And I want to emphasize the same, that although we are a bank, we are not just about funding. We want to play in the entire value chain of municipalities. I'm hoping that I'm making a pitch to engineers here, to say to engineers, the DBSA is available to provide the necessary support, to hold hands, and to help us solve our problems. The problems in South Africa are our problems, and no one else is going to come from somewhere to come and solve our problems. We have to do what is necessary to solve the challenges that we have in our country. And I think we can take a leaf out of what we have seen happen at ESCO to say that we are capable, we have what is necessary, and we have the institutions in our republic that can help us achieve the things that we need to achieve. We can work together to achieve the things that we need to achieve everywhere, at least for the DBSA as far as infrastructure is concerned. We have become very deliberate at the DBSA in terms of providing support to Black entrepreneurs and making sure that we work together in terms of delivery of infrastructure projects. We hold, together with probably the IDC, we hold the biggest book as far as BE funding in the RIP projects are concerned. We are very active in the student accommodation space in terms of providing funding to up and coming entrepreneurs in the student accommodation space. We want to be very active in the water space. Engineers are going to solve water problems in the country. I work for an SOE. I don't know in the private sector if you call everyone colleagues, but you see, we call each other colleagues. So we're very active in that space, and we really want to play a meaningful role in terms of how we can solve the challenges that we have as far as the infrastructure space particularly is concerned. We are engaged with the National Transmission Company to make sure that we also contribute towards resolution of the challenges around transmission in the country. We are also very interested in inter-Africa trade. That's why we have a footprint in the SADC on the rest of the continent. We have recently just closed the Lobido corridor rail line deal. We are one of the key funders in that transaction, because we believe that if we are going to prosper as a continent, we have to invest in the integration of the continent, starting with the region South Africa into going north, from that going all the way up to the top of the continent. And we are positioned as the DBSA to partner with local companies, to partner with local players within the infrastructure space to make sure that we deliver. South Africa is the most industrialized country on the continent. So if there's any country that stands to benefit from inter-Africa trade, probably South Africa is best positioned to benefit from that. And we stand prepared as the DBSA, given the mandate that we have, what we invest in, the partnerships that we have built to deliver on that. So, Chair, Mr. President, we're really glad to see the work that you do in the organization. When you started the NSBE, when the NSBE started, I was I don't know whether to say a first year student or a pre-university student. For those that comes from that university in Braamfontein, there's something there that's called PBS. I used to be in PBS, so I was doing PBS when this journey started. And I think you have done a very good job in terms of selling the engineering profession to young Black people. Now the question is, how do you retain them in the profession, and how do you make sure that they remain in the profession, and that they contribute towards dealing with the challenges and the problems that we have in our country? It is not an impossible task. It's not an impossible task. So with those few words, really, I would like to appreciate particularly the work that has been done by the management at ESCOM, particularly in Tate Nxumalo. You know, we celebrate you in that. We really do. I used to be part of a small group of engineers, so I was, hanging on with a small group of engineers that used to talk a lot about the work that you do at ESCOM, and really the turnaround that that entity is going to see. I remember talking to our auditors one day, and they said to me, as the chief risk officer, how do you sleep at night when you have this exposure to ESCOM? How do you sleep at night? I said to them, you see, the challenge is if ESCOM goes under, it's Armageddon. If you know what Armageddon means, that's the end. It does not matter whether you have an exposure to ESCOM as a lender or you don't. It doesn't matter. In the end, if ESCOM goes under, it's Armageddon. All of us might just pack up our bags, try to find second passports, and go somewhere else. So we are very grateful for the work that has been done. We cannot overemphasize that. And we really are standing in the stands and cheering you on. And as the DBSA, we are prepared to come to the party. The issue of basis points, GCE, is beyond my pay grade, so I can't say very much about that. I just manage risk for the organization. So, the person that is supposed to give this speech here maybe would be the right person to have, which is the CEO of the DBSA. But really, it's quite encouraging to see what has been achieved at ESCOM. It's quite encouraging to see what happens when we put our shoulders to the task and we say it is not impossible. We are well trained, we are well equipped, we have the necessary experience. And I know what the president means when he says when you walk into the room, the first thing is that you have to prove yourself before you are recognized and your skills are recognized. But I'm sure amongst us, we know what we can do. And we know that we are capable. And there are institutions that stand ready to provide support to the work that needs to be done in order for us to get South Africa going and to solve the challenges that we have, be it in logistics, transportation, water and sanitation, healthcare, wherever. The DBSA plays in all of those spaces in terms of provision of infrastructure, both from a planning, project preparation, funding, maintenance, operations. We do all of those things. Being engineers, when we say we offer builds, O&M, it doesn't mean we have a soldier of engineers here that will go and build a building somewhere. We work a lot with engineering firms in the country in terms of using them as our delivery agents for the work that we do, as well as in the O&M space. We do that as well in terms of working with engineering firms to deliver the work that we do. So you must be able to approach the DBSA and say, this is what I do, these are the projects that we work on, and this is the work that we'd like to partner the DBSA in doing. With those few words, Mr. President, thank you very much, and I wish you all of the best in trying to get people like me to come back home and do what needs to be done in order to build the country that we want to build. We say at the DBSA that our mission is to bend the arc of history and to build a prosperous region for all of her people. That's what drives us, and that's what makes us wake up in the morning and come to work, because we want to bend the arc of history and we want to build a prosperous region. And in order for us to be able to build a prosperous region, we need skilled, we need committed individuals, organizations that are going to do the work on the ground, that understands it better than we do. Thank you very much. Thank you.